officers have spotted Carlos Riviero Conde, who has just arrived from Buenos Aires. He doesn't speak English, so Customs Officer Clorinda has been called in to translate.
Antes que empiece a mirar la maleta, le tengo que hacer una pregunta. No se preocupe que preguntamos todo lo mismo a todas las personas. ¿Esto es su nombre?
Instincts can often pay off with big drug busts. Or Carlos might just be an innocent tourist. While Clorinda questions Carlos,
¿Cuánto tiempo se queda?
Acá, sobre 15 días.
Customs Officer Michael runs an ion scan on swabs taken from his luggage.
I understand you're here to work as a panel beater for 3 months in Australia.
Correct.
Okay, I need to talk to you about that and about the type of visa that you have, because there may be some problems.
18,000 Americans come to Australia to work every year, using a range of visas which allow them to work here temporarily. It's up to the traveller to ensure that they have the right visa.
Are you employed at the moment as a panel beater in the United States?
Yes, that is my normal profession.
And are you currently employed?
I'm self-employed, so at the moment I'm not working. I was coming here to work.
How much money did you bring with you, Mr. Miller?
About $1,000 US.
And what sort of money did you think you were going to be making here?
I really didn't know yet. I mean, just the opportunity to get out of the house and come see Australia and work at the same time sounded like a good idea at the time.
It's an excellent idea if you can do it. The problem is, I don't think you got the right visa to do it.
Carlos is remaining calm, and nothing seems to be fazing him while officers continue their search.
That iron scan we just took off the guy's backpack. It's basically just come up for high cocaine readings.
A positive reading doesn't automatically mean a person is smuggling drugs. Cocaine is extremely sticky, and even the slightest contact will leave a residue that could last for months. But that simple test does mean that Customs is now much more interested in Carlos and his luggage. Ken has finally fulfilled a dream to see Australia on a working holiday. He applied for his visa on the internet.
Some people take advantage of the fact that they can get them over the internet and actually put incorrect information when they seek the visa. Other people simply don't understand the conditions and terms for what they're applying for. And I think that's probably what's happened in this case today. What do you understand to be the terms and conditions of that visa?
Basically that I could work here as long as there weren't any other Australians available that could do the job that I'm here to do.
That's pretty close. There is one of the
Unlike some, Ken has tried to do the right thing.
He got his visa through the internet. He thought it was for business. He saw the magic word business. He thought that gave him a permission to work. It doesn't. He's here to work. He doesn't have the funds to support himself for 3 months without it. So it's not looking good in terms of retaining this 977 visa.
There are 7 visas you can get over the internet. It looks like Ken has picked the wrong one.
The visa that you have, that you got over the internet, is actually called a business visitor visa, right?
Okay.
And it's for businessmen who are coming here for the purposes of things like a meeting or a conference or a speech or something like that. It's not actually a work permit. It'd be like an Australian turning up in the States to work without a green card. On a holiday visa or something like that, the States would turn that person around. And you're in a similar situation here. So what you're faced with now is the prospect of us considering the cancellation of this visa. And if that's the case, then you would be refused entry today to Australia and asked to go home again. Basically, we'd be putting you back on a plane.
I understand. Is there a second option?
Over in Customs, officers are involved in a potentially volatile situation with a man who's refused to join the crowded line at passport control.
The passenger's just presenting himself at the primary line. He's walked past a number of Australian citizens who are standing in line. They've protested that he's pushing in. The processing officer then said, look, I'm not going to process you until you go to the back of the line. He then said because of his Aboriginal heritage, he's exempt and he doesn't need to be processed. Look, the behaviour this bloke has displayed throughout since his arrival at the airport has been of concern. I need to monitor this examination just to make sure that if anything does happen, I'm on hand to respond.
I'm an Aboriginal Australian. I've come back from a trip to Israel. I identified myself as Aboriginal. When I identified myself, they didn't want to process me until they'd process other families. And they say to me, "Oh, can you come this way?" They want to inspect my bags. I feel like I've been discriminated against.
Passenger Michael is showing impatience, but this time he'll just have to wait as Customs prepares for a search of his bag.
This bag has been sealed from Israel. It's been through the high security in Israel. I don't see why they should be opening my private things.
Customs, Sydney Airport. Renee is carrying out a thorough search of Carlos's luggage. Officers suspect him of carrying drugs, but so far they've found nothing.
Just put the bag through on various angles to try and see if there's any inconsistencies. What I'm going to do is some iron scans of the inside of the bag. I'm just not 100% happy with the shading along here.
There's still no proof that Carlos has done anything wrong. But now, with each passing test, this inspection is turning into something much more.
Can you run that one for me? It's the inside of the red bag.
Nosotros acá en Australia somos bien, ¿cómo se dice? Rigurosos. Como el problema de droga entrando acá, problemas personas venir para quedarse y así. Nosotros tenemos que...
I got positive iron scan readings for coke and cocaine again, but after drilling the bag, no powder did come out of the bag, so it makes it a bit hard for us to tell.
Can you x-ray this?
I'll get someone to x-ray.
And he's had that glued on. That does make me think, because normally that should just pull off. I've taken the screws out and I should be able to just slide that handle off, but it's not coming off at all.
Michael has just returned from Israel, where he's been studying Jewish law, and he seems acutely sensitive to protocol.
This bag has been sealed from Israel. It's been through the high security in Israel. I don't see why they should be opening my private things without scanning it first.
I'll scan it if you like. The result of the x-ray won't determine whether it's physically examined or not. Okay? All right, it's basically too hard to say whether there is anything there or not, from my perspective anyway. All right, sir, so I've x-rayed the bag, and as I said to you, I still wish to examine it. Okay?
Right, is all this just clothing and things like that, sir?
And documents.
Parts of plants, traditional medicines, including herbs, seeds, bulbs, straws or nuts. Now you tick note of both of those questions, sir, and yet you've got nuts in the bag.
Probably because I just didn't realise.
Okay, so do you have any more food, any sweets, lollies, bread, nothing like that?
Not that I realise.
Okay, so there may be some in there?
I've looked.
All right, Mr. Miller.
Ken's plans to spend a few months working in Australia are fading fast.
I have here a formal notice of intention to consider cancelling the visa, and you will have a period of 10 minutes in which you can think about it and tell me why your visa should or should not be cancelled. If it is cancelled, you'll be removed from Australia back to the United States. If it isn't cancelled, then it's going to be difficult not to cancel it given the purposes of your visa. Anyway, at the end of that time, I'll listen to anything you want to say about why you wish to either enter Australia today or not, why you think your visa should be cancelled or not. Immediately after that, we'll make a decision about cancellation. All right, and I'll get you your water too.
Thank you very much.
Interview suspended, 9:35.
I don't know, I thought I was going through the proper channels coming over here, but evidently I wasn't. So, I mean, I guess typical of most government paperwork, it's a little hard to read and understand.
I mean, he's a nice man. I don't particularly want to send him back and create all this hassle, but at the same time, he didn't read what he was supposed to read when he applied for the thing. The employer didn't read what they were supposed to read when they basically did it this way. There are other means by which it could have happened, but it's not going to happen on the 977 visa today. In the meantime, while this is going on, we've been talking to United Airlines just to give them a heads up that they might have a refusal today, and they'd make an arrangement to put that person back on the plane today, so he doesn't have to go to Villawood, he doesn't have to stay here too long, and he can just get home and sort himself out. All right, Ron, I think we will talk to United.
Where's this from, sir?
It's a Woomera, mate.
So you brought it from here, over there, and brought it back?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. I just want to make sure that it wasn't being imported from overseas.
Michael is an Aboriginal Jew who returned from Israel. Customs noticed him when he jumped the queue at passport control. Now officers are discovering some undeclared prohibited items.
I draw your attention again to question number 7. Where it says,
I told you just before, I told you it might be something else. We dealt with that,
So does that include this right here, sir?
But the issue wasn't the big issue that we're talking about was security. If I remember what you're saying, what it wasn't about, you didn't mention anything about wood or anything. You're worried about the security, that I might be a threat to Australian security.
Initially out there at the migration process, we mentioned that. I haven't mentioned anything about that. I just said we needed to physically examine your luggage.
Mr. Miller's 10 minutes are up now. He's had a chance to think about what he's going to say to me. It seems pretty clear-cut, this one. He is here to work in contravention of the visa that he's got. I don't know what else he has to say, but I'll be exploring any other reasons that he might have after we make this decision. So I'll go and chat to him now and see where we go. Right, interview resumed at 9:48. As you know, Mr. Miller, I've given you a notice outlining our intention to cancel your visa. You've now had some time to think about why we should or shouldn't cancel it.
It doesn't look like I have really any way out other than the hardship visa that you talked about for the 30 days.
A border visa is the one we were talking about, and that's normally granted to somebody who has compelling and compassionate circumstances to be in Australia for a short period. And what I'd be looking for would be things like family connections, medical reasons, funerals.
So, I don't have any other course than basically get back on a plane and go home.
All right. Well, your visa is going to be cancelled today, the 977 visa, and we will be making arrangements for you to go back out on the United Airlines flight.
I've got my Australian souvenirs. Denied. You're going home.
He's taken it in a remarkably good humour, considering he's just about to go 9,000 k's back across the Pacific. But apart from that, he seemed to be acknowledging the fact that, yeah, I should have looked into it, my employer should have looked into it, and there's nothing to stop him coming back in the future. He's not a bad man. He just had the wrong thing at the wrong time, that's all.
Ken returned to the US that afternoon. He's subject to a 3-year exclusion period which can be waived, and he can then apply for another visa. In customs, officers are dealing with a very different problem. So far, there's no trace of drugs in Carlos's bag.
So is that clean?
Yeah, I can't see anything down there at all.
But now it's his story that doesn't add up.
And I just basically spoke to him about where he's coming from. His itinerary was very interesting. It does match up with previous couriers and narcotic seizures. He didn't really know much about the area he was staying in the hotel. He claims to be a surfer and thinks that he's going to buy surfboards with information that he's been told in the shopping centre outside the airport. He has got a story planned, but it doesn't fit reality of what happens out here.
Officers use their extensive experience and instinct, and Carlos is starting to show some anxiety.
Pretty well sure that the guy's got it. Actually 99% sure that he's got it. It's just a matter of where. So we'll go into a frisk. See how that goes. If it comes up negative, well, tell him to tell me to stop if he wants. I'll have to have a chat to him privately and assess him for an internal search. I'm pretty sure he's got it.
In another part of customs, officers have found some prohibited items in Michael's bags, and things are becoming a little heated.
So just for the time being, can you put that down? Thank you. Thank you.
How are we going this morning?
Quarantine officer Paul has been brought in to examine the items found in Michael's bags.
This is from Australia. He said this is from Australia as well.
I didn't say it's from Australia, I said it's from here.
Right, mate. These ones are prohibited, yeah? You can't have these. That's prohibited.
Why is this prohibited?
Why is it prohibited? Right? Pot puree is blanketly prohibited because this has got seeds in it. See those seeds?
Yeah, but it's not just that.
Oh, mate. Yeah, there's one seed in there. It's prohibited.
What about the eucalyptus?
Yeah, mate, they're telling me you can't bring any fresh leaves into Australia, mate, and those ones are actually covered in diseases. You can see those little diseases on there, right?
A few diseased leaves may seem harmless, but could be devastating to our native trees.
Now, next question. Why didn't you declare these items on the card here, sir? You're filling this card out, right? You've broken the law of your country and my country, mate.
Oh, no, it's not my law. It's your law. It's custom law from what year?
Huh?
What year's that law come from? No, what year's the custom law, mate?
The customs law's got nothing to do with what I'm doing. The quarantine law, 1901.
The quarantine law, what year's that?
Huh? 1901.
1901, right?
Yeah. What, and you should have been before 1901.
What was wrong with the quarantine in 1788?
I'm not gonna argue about it.
When you bring in a disease that killed off was part of the big genocide of Aboriginal people was disease. Thank you very much. Sir, I don't want to say another word till I get a lawyer.
Okay, can I speak to you then? Sir?
I've got nothing to say, sorry, I want a lawyer.
I respect you've got nothing to say, but I'm going to say something to you.
Discrimination.
Yeah, okay.
Flight AR1183 arrived from Buenos Aires a few hours ago. All the other passengers on the flight have cleared customs and immigration. Carlos, though, isn't going anywhere. He's been cautioned and taken to an interview room.
His story is so-so, it's not real crash hot, but the home scans have come apply for cocaine. I'm pretty well certain he has something, but basically I have to go and assess him for an internal.
An internal is an ultrasound exam performed at a hospital. Carlos may still be carrying drugs inside his body. Before it gets to that, though, Carlos has one more chance to convince customs they've got the wrong man. Michael has been carrying leaves covered with disease. They could very well destroy our native trees.
So I've got something to say to you, and that is, as an Aboriginal, you must respect that by bringing in these items, you're putting at risk the native flora and fauna of Australia. It's got nothing to do with legislation, it's the risks involved, okay? And that's why the laws are in place. So you've got to understand that a person with a legal background should be aware that when they're signing a legal document, it's very important. Now, you with a legal background should have read that document carefully.
I said it's a mistake.
And understood it.
I said I've accepted where I've made a mistake.
Look, sorry to interrupt you. Look, can you just put that down and put it on your baggage over there?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You obviously have no importance about quarantine law. It's really important, man. I'm protecting Australia.
I was talking about the importance of protecting my people.
We came into contact with him around the baggage carousel and referred him back to immigration. He finally agreed to have his passport processed and be processed through immigration.
Before Michael was cleared to leave, he was informed of the quarantine risk of the goods he failed to declare.
Had enough of it. Want to get home.
The issue with the pot puree, and that's not really serious. Lots of people bring pot puree in every day, and yeah, I can understand how people don't declare that, but the fresh food items and obviously diseased leaves, I can't understand how he didn't declare that. It's beyond me. It'll be interesting to see what our scientists say about these ones, because if they're some disease we don't have in Australia, they'll be in seriously big trouble.
Carlos is trying to convince customs that he isn't a drug courier.
Yeah, okay. His travel plans were to go from Lima to Cusco and Machu Picchu, and then to Buenos Aires. If he had enough money, he was then going to organise to come to Sydney to surf, as it was his dream as a child.
Where are you going to surf?
¿Dónde es que usted va a hacer de surf?
En el mismo sitio donde en el Cronulla Beach, donde estoy en el hotel, ahí mismo en esa playa voy a hacer surf.
Said he's got the hotel he's staying at. He said, in Sydney, I know absolutely nothing. He goes, I have no ground knowledge of anything.
If Carlos is a legitimate tourist, he should know more about Australia. Strike one.
When was the last time that you used cocaine?
¿Cuándo la última vez que usted usó cocaína?
Ya hace en España.
¿Eh?
En España, ya hace como 5 o 6 meses.
Said in Spain about 5-6 months.
5 or 6 months ago.
5 o 6 meses atrás.
Sí.
The ion scan readings off his luggage suggests Carlos has been in contact with cocaine much more recently.
In Spain, in Vigo.
Strike two.
Okay, are you carrying any drugs in your body?
¿Usted tiene alguna droga con usted hoy día a su cuerpo?
No.
No.
No, ninguna.
Nothing.
Ninguna.
Tell him we don't believe him
Él dice que no se acredita lo que está diciendo.
and we're detaining him for an internal search.
No, no tengo problema ninguno. Que
No, I have no problem.
Do you understand?
¿Usted entiende? ¿Entiende lo que dice?
You understand you got the right to say no?
¿Usted entiende que tiene el derecho de decir que no?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, they will do an ultrasound of your body. They can see everything inside.
Sí, pero yo no tengo ningún problema, pero yo lo que quiero saber es que después saber que me pagan a mí todo este tiempo y todo esto.
Says I don't have a problem with any of this, but who's going to pay me my time for all this time? He says I'll do anything you say because you're the ones, you are the bosses, but who's going to pay me for my lost time?
Carlos was referred to the Australian Federal Police. An ultrasound exam found that he had swallowed 86 small packages of cocaine, weighing approximately 430 grams. Carlos pled guilty and is now serving time in jail. Strike three.
Just come around here.
Can I just have this one first?
Zhongjing is one of the tens
the
of
right to know that
thousands of
you're outside
overseas
and
university
contraband.
students studying in Australia.
Are you Australian passport holder?
No, Chinese PR.
And how long are you here for?
For 1 year and a half.
What are you studying?
Accounting.
Accounting.
Yeah.
Zhongjing is being quizzed about her customs declaration.
Parents paying for your...
Yeah.
Have you been to Australia before or is this your first time?
No, the second time.
Second time?
Yes.
That's the only cash that you have? How much do you have all up?
350.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have any more in your bags?
No.
No, that's it?
Yeah.
What about in here? Any
No.
more in there? How much have we got in here?
It's just about impossible not to see these quarantine warnings when you get off a plane. But alarmingly, that doesn't stop thousands of people ignoring them.
We have over 800,000 passengers arrive in Australian ports every month. Those passengers can carry through 6,500 undeclared seizures through Sydney Airport alone. Those seizures could bring in all sorts of exotic diseases like foot and mouth disease or fruit fly, which could devastate our economy.
That's where these guys come in, with noses 100 times more sensitive than humans. Quarantine beagles are perfect for detecting food and plants hidden in bags. But not every beagle makes a good quarantine officer. This is Beagle Boot Camp. These handlers and their dogs have spent 2 months learning to find hidden food and plants. This time next week, they'll be on duty at Melbourne Airport, as long as they pass their final exams.
They're nervous and they're tense, but, you know, it's no guts, no glory, I think. If we get through this, it's a very difficult course, and if we get through it here, it'll be great.
For the dogs, it's a game. Find the food and get a reward. But for one of the handlers, it's very serious. If Scott's dog Banjo fails, his own job's at risk.
All right, mate, you want to come in with me? We'll have a little chat. Your bags will be safe here.
At Sydney Airport, Immigration Officer Peter has found himself with a wayward passenger.
This gentleman actually turned up on the wrong side of the airport. His flight came down on one side and he turned up on the other. He got lost somewhere up in the halls and ended up coming down here when no passengers were expected, so he naturally drew attention to himself, and that's why we started looking. Just a quick chat. Have you been to Australia before?
Yes.
And this was on your Canadian passport?
Yes, we did.
Have you ever used your Romanian passport to travel to Australia?
No, because with Romania I need visa.
Right, okay. Can you tell me why you're here?
And I come to arrange some boxing, and because I'm here
That's what you do, huh?
to arrange with Vlad.
Vlad,
and I forget his. Vlad is a manager of Costa too.
You're a boxer too, huh?
Yes.
What division do you fight in?
80
kilos?
Yeah, depends.
One of the things that we're a little bit worried about is that your passport seems to have some damage to it. And we're not sure at this stage what to make of that. We don't know what to think about whether or not your passport has been damaged just, you know, through normal wear and tear, or whether or not somebody's perhaps deliberately played with it. Maybe somebody fooled with this passport, maybe, we think.
Back at the customs barrier,
How much? 10,000 US dollars. Now we have a problem.
Zheng Jing has been caught with a stash of undeclared cash, way above the legal limit.
It's got 10,000 American and over 9,000 Australian.
Madam, you have to listen carefully to what I'm going to say. You do not have to say or do anything, but anything you do say or do may be used as evidence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You read question number 5, madam.
Do you carry the cash equal or more than 10,000 Australian dollars?
Right.
Yeah.
10,000 or equivalent to 10,000 Australian dollars.
Equivalent
Have you got any other cash? Have you got any more cash?
any more cash?
Yes.
No.
This time, customs won't take no for an answer.
Anyway? No.
All right, well, I'm just going to go and make another couple of phone calls, and then I'll come back and talk to you again.
Marion, the Romanian boxer travelling on a suspicious Canadian passport, is remaining calm. But immigration officers have decided to bring in a document expert.
I've just spoken to the document examiner. He's on his way. He's going to be about 30 minutes, and he's going to come in and have a look at the passport. I spoke to him over about the features on the page, and we've actually thought that it's warranting him coming in from home to have a look at it.
He did a couple of eye flicks. He's very dry-mouthed. He's sitting very tensely, very upright. He's very nervous.
The rule is that you must declare anything over 10,000 Australian dollars or equivalent.
She's claiming ignorance, but Zheng Jing has broken the law.
No. 10,000 US? Yes.
10,000 US.
9,500.
The Chinese student has brought in double the legal amount of undeclared cash.
I just have some pocket money.
Yeah, and what's that pocket money for?
This one?
No, what's this money for? What's this money for?
This is money?
Yes, what's that money for?
I just carry this money.
Yes, what's the money for? What do you use the money for?
For my living?
Okay, rightio. I'm going to make a phone call.
Going to make phone call?
A phone call, yeah, to the Australian Federal Police.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what will happen after I made the phone call. Okay?
Why didn't you declare the money? Clear the money? My parents gave me this.
Unfortunately for Zheng Jing, the growing pile of hidden money has forced the hand of customs.
We believe that she's in excess of her currency and that we're detaining her for that reason and doing a baggage examination.
I'm going to go back through this bag again, okay? Okay. Any in here? Nothing in here? You can see. Is there any problem? Is there a problem? Yeah, there is, because you didn't declare it. If you hadn't declared it, there wouldn't have been a problem. You would have just filled out a form and you would have been on your way.
Okay, madam, what's going to happen now is once we've done the pat-down or frisk search, the Federal Police will be talking to you about your currency.
About my currency?
Yeah, about your money.
If she can't prove that all of this is hers, the police will seize it.
They will carry my money?
They will...
Take her money. Take my money.
I don't know what they'll do. I have really no idea of what the Australian Federal Police will do.
Okay, won't be long. Okay, I will ring this person.
Back in Sydney, Peter is going to check with a relative to see if Marion's story is true.
Hi, Clarice. My name's Peter. I'm from Immigration at Sydney Airport. We're just checking up on a couple of things that he's told us, and one of them is that he was coming to stay with you. Okay, are you able to name this chap for me? Oh, no, you don't need to spell it. And have you met him before? Oh, okay. All right, cheers, bye-bye. What I've gleaned from that is that a lot of what he told me is true. The niece advised me that as far as she is aware, he's a Romanian citizen, but he did live in Canada for quite some time, which gels with a Canadian passport. She's not sure what he does for a living, but they were expecting him for another short visit.
His story checks out, but Peter still thinks there is something wrong with Marion's passport. It will be up to the document examiner to determine if the passport is just damaged or has been tampered with.
So much rests on this document. So much rests on the document.
In Sydney, the specialist document examiner has started his forensic work to inspect Marion's passport.
He's going to do a microscopic examination of this passport. He's going to be looking at things as close as the fibre of the paper, the disturbance, if any, to the glue of the paper. He's going to be looking at all these security features. And if it is as we think, and it could be a slice the paper, insert the photograph, that is very, very subtle, very difficult to detect because it doesn't damage the normal security features. This is why we called him in the first place. He's an expert document examiner. We've got some skills in that area, but when it's one of these ones that you really need a trained and expert eye to have a look at, and that's why he's here.
Some things are telling me that it could be, it's either wear or tear or damage from tampering. This is what I have to determine now.
This should only take another 10 or 15 minutes and we should have an answer for you, all right? He's my expert. He's a fully qualified forensic expert in document examination. I'm not. So if he says it's a dud document or a fraudulent document, that's good enough for us, and we will proceed on that basis.
Back at Beagle School, Senior Officer D is explaining how the test will work.
Usual validation, 7 runs. 1 will be a blank run. If your dog alerts, you will say, put your hand up, say it's in here, and we'll either say correct or incorrect.
Okay, this one. Show me. Show me. Yes.
Correct.
Show me. Show me.
Incorrect.
The dogs have been trained to detect fresh fruit and vegetables, meat, plant material, even birds and reptiles. They're supposed to sit if they smell something.
We're only not novice dogs, so we're not expecting what we expect from a dog that's been in the field. But it's very stressful, so they'll be out there chewing their nails, that's for sure.
It only takes a couple of targets. If he misses, then I fail, so we're back to square one then. So it's very important that I keep him on his game and keep him sharp so that he doesn't miss any of those targets and I can get through the validation today. Yeah.
Benjo, fine. Yes, good boy. Good dog.
Banjo's off to a good start, but it's not a perfect run.
Okay, find it.
The testers have put cheese in one of the boxes. Although it is food, it's not food Banjo should be reacting to.
Incorrect.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. He went really well then. Yeah, really happy with him on that run. He sat again on the cheese, but I think I'll just have to do a bit more training with him on the cheese and he'll sort it out.
With only 2 runs left, Scott and Banjo are still under pressure.
Yes, good boy. Good dog.
At the end of the day, the team find out the results.
Well done, guys. You're all through.
But it's not over yet. Tomorrow is the real world test, when the dogs and their handlers visit the airport.
I'm happy at the moment because Part A was really good. They got all their targets. It's still not over yet, and it's going to be a hard one tomorrow, but we'll see how we go.
We've been out there a couple of times and he gets very distracted. Any little noises or any passengers' movement, he tends to just sort of start looking around. With time, he'll get over that, and I think he'll become a very good dog at the end of the day.
So how long have you been out of Canada?
I've been to Canada. I live. Sometimes I go there, sometimes Romanian, but the moment I live in Romanian.
Ah, okay.
What I'm looking for here is enlarged stitch holes, loose stitching, any extra
While the document examiner continues to determine the validity of Marion's passport.
I don't see any extra stitch holes there, so that appears to be genuine.
I show you here.
Peter is using informal conversation to gather information.
Ah, you're married in Romania, huh?
Yes. Look, I'm in Canada here.
You're in Canada?
Niagara.
Ah, lovely.
Niagara Falls.
Beautiful.
So the fluorescent dots here, they're planchettes, and that tells me that the security features in the paper are genuine. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the biographical data page. I can't find anything wrong with the passport, so now I'm looking for any irregularities, any tampering, especially with the biographical print and also around the photograph and with the lamina.
Do you have children?
Yes, one daughter.
How old are?
7.
7. Good age. It's a good age.
I'm looking around the area of the photograph and there's a couple of little indentations in the lamina which suggest that another photograph could have been there.
Next one up, please. Next one.
In the customs hall, officers want to search Zhongjing for any more hidden cash. So far, she's resisting.
If I refuse this, I will meet a lot of trouble after.
I don't know, that's not the case.
They've
if you
already
refuse this,
found
you won't
more
be in a
than
lot of trouble after.
$23,000.
I will in the jail.
Are you in? No. Sorry.
I just carry some cash.
Yep.
Why should do this? No drug, no anything else.
Yeah, okay. We just want to make sure there's no cash or anything other that's on your body or in your pockets.
Okay.
Okay?
You have the right to go to a private room. The course is my misunderstanding about the items.
Yeah.
Under them.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to get another female officer. Basically, all she had to do was just fill out a bit of paperwork and she would have been on her way. However, now we've got this problem whereas she hasn't declared the money and now the AFP are interested in her. They'll take the money from her and she may be charged.
Police seized a total of $23,951 in mixed currency. Zhongjing said the money was for university fees. It was her belief that she only had to declare Australian dollars. She was fined $1,000.
A friend in Australia.
You're visiting a friend?
Yeah,
It's turning into a very long day for the Romanian boxer, who came to Australia to arrange a few bouts and found himself going a few rounds with immigration.
So, yeah, if you don't mind waiting 10 or 15, and then we should be able to give you some more information then. All right?
There is some irregularities down the side here as well. Possibly could have been split. I'll have to do some more examinations on that part of it to see whether there's been split or tampered with, or there's just wear and tear.
Is your wife Canadian too?
Yes.
So you're both Canadian. So your daughter would have both passports?
Yes.
Emma, what I've found is around the edge of the photograph, there is a second indentation in the lamina all the way around, which doesn't align with the photograph. And on the corresponding page behind the photograph, we can also see a second indentation along here, which again doesn't line up with the photograph. There's damage around the photograph as well. The damage there is consistent with a passport that's been photo substituted.
Yep. So they've come in at the side.
They've come in from the side, don't they?
Split the page and just put the photo straight in.
So my opinion, it's been photo substituted.
Great.
Hi, Petra. Right, Dave's completed his examination and it has been a photo substituted passport. So it's a really good pick.
His passport has been tampered with and the evidence against him is strong.
Well, very simply, what has happened is they've taken a piece of paper, say like any A4 sheet of paper, and actually cut it in half, but instead of cutting it in half this way, they've cut it in half along the length of the paper. So it's like surgery. They've with very fine instruments, actually separated the fibres of the paper, split it apart, taken out the photograph and put in another one, and then managed to put it all down without damaging too much of the lamina on the top. It's a really good job. And that's why I'm particularly pleased with the result we've got tonight. This passport's been in circulation since 2000.
The other thing, the signature on the passenger card
doesn't match that.
Well, they're trying to match it. It's like we're done with a real steady sort of slow movement. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go and have a chat to this chappie then, see what he's got to say for himself.
Well, today, unlike yesterday, is a field validation. Yesterday was the scent validation in the training shed, and today is a field validation in the real world. So it's getting the dogs out and the handlers out and testing them in real conditions.
It's D-Day for Banjo and the other dogs. If they fail this test, they fail the course. For Banjo, it'll mean retraining, but for Scott, it could mean finding a new job.
I'll just go through just very quickly what I want each of you to think about. Speed of search, can be a little bit quick sometimes, but I don't want you to go like a snail around the place either. So there's that little balance you've got to work on.
Keep the balance.
Yep. Okay.
Good day.
Scott's worried the airport will be a far greater challenge to Banjo than the training shed.
He gets very distracted here at the airport. He tends just to, if there's a noise in the background, he tends just to look over to see what the noise is. And also the safety is probably the biggest one. There's a lot of movement of trolleys, passengers, so it's very important that I keep his safety in mind as well.
Steve is planting a bag full of pears, a target odour.
We're just going to train some dogs, so it's a training bag.
But can Banjo find it?
Yes, good boy. Good dog.
Judges Doug and Dee are watching Scott and Banjo's every
He's got his lead a little bit scrunched up in the hand there.
I just asked to put them on the floor. Thank you. Good dog. Banjo, find it, mate. Good boy. Just get you to pop all your handbags down on the floor for us.
His voice could be a little bit stronger.
Yeah, he's a big bloke. He should be able to project himself a bit more.
Yes, good dog. How you going, sir?
Banjo's hit on biscuits, which the couple has declared.
Okay, that's fine. No fruit or vegetables in there at all?
Well, they've finished their run. I don't know what's happened yet. It's up to the validators. So we'll certainly know in a minute or two, I hope. And I hope it's a success.
All 5 beagles passed yesterday's tests, but they won't be working on the front line unless they pass today as well. Like the 50 beagles already working at airports around Australia, these dogs must be the best of the best. And for handler Scott, this is where he finds out whether he still has a job.
Got good news. Everyone has got through.
I'm pretty proud. Yeah, he's a good little fella. Definitely way off the shoulders. Yeah, really good.
Marian from Romania says he has come to Australia to arrange some boxing. He's travelling on a Canadian passport, which a document examiner has been inspecting under a microscope. Now the gloves are off.
Mr. Ngoi, please sit down. I think we have some matters we need to discuss. Okay? We've completed an examination of your passport. It's been subjected to scientific forensic analysis, and we have come to the conclusion that your passport has been photo substituted. In other words, you are not a Canadian citizen, and that passport was not originally issued to you. It's been your photo has replaced the original photo that was in it.
Who say like this?
Our document people. Scientific examination.
What?
A scientific examination was taken of your passport, and our experts have concluded that your passport has been photo substituted. What do you have to say about that?
No.
You deny that it's been photo substituted?
No.
Would you like us to talk to your consulate for you?
To speak with?
The Canadian consulate, to verify the details that you're telling us.
It's better to go. If you don't leave it to go in Australia, go back.
Because that would be the consequence of what we're talking about today. And what I propose to do is to cancel the tourist visa that you have, refuse you entry to Australia, and put you back on a plane.
No problem.
We will also have to make arrangements for a new travel document for you, because we cannot give you back that Canadian passport.
Why don't give it away?
Because we believe that that passport is a fraudulent passport, and under international law, we have to seize such documents.
If you don't tell me leave it to go on country, no problem, I'll go back.
Yeah, well see, that makes me think that you knew your passport was a problem passport. I think you knew. He's agreeing to disagree with you, Dave. You're no good. You're no good.
That's how we keep getting better.
Right, here I go. Okay, bad news, I'm afraid. We can't get you on Malaysian tonight.
People are sometimes turned around the same day and don't spend any time in a detention centre. That's not the case with Marian.
You'll be going to a place in Sydney called Villawood, and that's where the immigration detention centre is. Okay? It's not a prison for criminals, it's a place for detaining immigrant problems. So, about 1 more hour, and then they'll come and get you. 1 hour. Okay.
The fight's over and it's a knockout.